Hey guys, how are we doing? So, I really enjoyed part 1 of Meruem's character journey from Alexander. I don't know whether it's YouTube or whether it's the videos I'm choosing, but again, not complaining, just stating a fact that the views are really down on my videos, and I feel like maybe it's because of the videos I'm choosing. Let me know if it's something I'm doing, or whether it's just like YouTube having a bit of a hiccup. Because I'm just kind of like, do people want to see these reactions? Or, but anyway, I'm still going to carry on anyway. Just let me know, because then I can like rearrange and mix it up so that there's more of the stuff you want, and I can keep doing these things, because 1, I want to put out what you want to see, but 2, it's my channel and I want to put out things that I want to do, you know what I mean? I want to make the perfect blend. I want to make you happy and I want to be happy, and I don't want to have the stuffy nose. I feel a lot better, but it's just sniffles now. Anyway, let's get into this. This is Meruem's character journey, part 2 of 2 from Alexander's. I really enjoyed number 1. This is going to be good because this is the tipping point. This is when Meruem starts to become more human. And, oh, the Netero fight was boss. And even Netero pointed out, didn't he, that like he's like at this tipping point between being human and being a chimera ant, and Netero's... right, let's just get into this. I love these. Alexander's really good at putting these things together. Meruem's Turning Point. Episode 111 to 127.
Have you ever been so torn between two philosophies, viewpoints, people, or even objects, that you doubted you'd ever be able to commit to one over the other?
I'll
give an example.
Go on.
Recently, my sister was at the eye doctor, and she literally could not decide between 2 pairs of glasses.
Right.
She could not for the life of her pick one pair over the other.
Okay.
In order to force her hand, I walked over, grabbed one of the pairs from her, and said, "I'm deciding for you. You're taking this one."
Yeah, well,
As I moved to put away the pair I had taken from her, she stopped me and said that my act of taking it away from her had made her realize that she wanted it more than the other pair. She couldn't bear to lose it.
Interesting.
Now, why am I telling you any of this?
Why are you telling us this?
Well, it's a rather extended metaphor for Meruem's psyche at the beginning of the royal selection.
Right.
Directly before the selection, he is entirely conflicted. The one thing that he knows is that he does not want harm to befall Komugi.
Nope.
But what should he do with her? He feels responsible for protecting Komugi, but at the same time he knows that the power he has is still able to rule all in this situation.
World. Yeah.
He can make all of this uncomfortable internal conflict stop with one tail swing.
Yeah.
But he doesn't want to. So here, Meruem has reached a total roadblock psychologically. He is stuck, entirely conflicted.
Yeah.
In a situation like this, a psychological stalemate is likely to occur for a long time, until the individual eventually, after a ton of self-reflection and time, reaches a conclusion. An even tug-of-war between Meruem's instincts was bound to happen.
Yeah.
That is, unless something forced his hand in choosing.
Ah.
And that is exactly what
happens,
occurs
yeah.
after Komugi is mortally wounded by Zeno's dragon dive. In seeing Komugi teetering on death's door, Meruem truly realizes his desires. Before this, he was uncertain. He had put Komugi under protection.
Interesting.
Been fascinated with
nice
her,
one.
but he did not know what he wanted to do with her, to quote the man himself. The heart knows what it wants, but doubt and reservations often overshadow this. Only once something precious is threatened to be taken away from us do we fully comprehend what we desire.
Wow.
After the possibility of losing this young woman rears its ugly head, Meruem realizes exactly what he wants to do with her. He sheds a great deal of his ant tendencies at this point, and becomes much more selfless and concerned with the well-being of a self-proclaimed weak human. Now, he has not gone completely human, as we'll explore in a bit.
Yeah.
But regardless,
you find that
comparing
through the
his
Netero fight.
characterization at this point to earlier in his life, the contrast is there for all to see. Netero realizes this. While him and Zeno
so
had
cool
traveled
he's
to
like,
East
no.
Morteau expecting to encounter a ruthless evil monster, they were shocked to witness the delicate and caring way in which Meruem treated Komugi. His care for the girl completely took Netero, Zeno, Pito, and probably even Meruem himself aback.
Like, whoa.
However, despite this, Meruem understood the situation he was in. He knew that he had to fight Netero. It was inevitable. and he was willing to do so as long as it kept these powerful men
Away
from
from her,
Komugi
yeah.
while Pito healed her. One of the most shocking moments in this arc was when Meruem walked past Netero and Zeno, who were both defenseless and vulnerable.
They both
In
sense
this
how
instant,
powerful he
Meruem
is.
could have removed both of their heads in a fraction of a second,
But he didn't.
but he had tapped into his sympathetic, compassionate, and honorable humanity, and refrained from murder at this point.
Yeah.
It's likely that he did this in order to repay the two for not attacking while he was recovering Komugi's body,
Yeah.
which is quite unbelievable, considering the personality the Ant King had a mere 10 or so episodes
Yeah, it's
prior.
crazy, isn't it? How he's
It is
flipped.
here where we arrive at one of the biggest moments of the arc in the series,
So cool.
not to mention my favorite battle of the series.
Oh, so good.
Netero versus Meruem. While the fight itself was visually stunning, engaging,
Amazing.
and tactical, I actually think that the internal and psychological meaning behind the combat was the highlight here. Before the true combat begins, the two men have a conversation. Meruem believes that there is no need to fight. He says that he has changed his
Oh yeah,
mind
he
regarding
refuses to at first, doesn't he? Yeah.
He has agreed to let certain humans with what he deems as a true purpose and potential live. People like Komugi, people like Netero. However, he is only willing to allow a select few to remain, and intends to use tyranny to control them initially.
Mm-hmm.
I like this development because here Togashi incorporates a very organic change in Meruem's point of view on humans. It was a stunning shift, but it was not too sudden or unbelievable.
No.
If Meruem had suddenly decided that every human being on Earth was worth saving, it would have been out of character and
It would have been
jarring.
very bizarre, wouldn't it?
Instead, we have a subtle and believable change of perspective on
Right, he's like,
Meruem's
okay,
world.
I'll spare the
The
strong.
biggest change here is that he admits that he realizes that power is necessary to protect the weak, and should be used properly. This is a remarkable change from his earlier views that power should be used for conquest. Netero notices this stunning maturity from the Ant King, and reflects that he must end this quickly or else his heart may begin to sway.
Yeah, he's like,
Here notes
he
that
realizes it,
Meruem's
doesn't he? He's
ant
like, he's
and human sides are in
one or the other.
conflict, with each having nearly equivalent sway in Meruem's psyche. But in the end, Meruem's intention to destroy the majority of humanity, despite his plans to save some, was the factor that steeled Netero's resolve. Therefore, he realized he could not risk any outcome other than Meruem's destruction.
Mm-hmm. He has to die.
And so, the battle begins.
So good.
Netero is constantly the aggressor in this fight.
Yeah, he is.
His
Just always on the
Bodhisattva
attack.
attacks Meruem constantly, and always seems to hit its mark, but Meruem does not respond. He finds this fight meaningless. It will achieve nothing. He knows his power. He knows that he could beat Netero comfortably, yet he doesn't because
Just
he
sits
respects
back
him.
down.
Despite Netero's constant attacks, Meruem refuses to fight without reason. He exclaims that Netero will have to use words to engage him. So Netero appeals to Meruem in the only way that seems
He's like, I'll
possible,
tell you your name.
by offering to tell him his name.
Yep. So
Here
cool.
he is appealing to Meruem's momentous humanity in order to get a reaction out of him. Meruem, in his growing yearning for a purpose and identity, is given an opportunity to obtain something quite dear to him. The irony is mind-numbingly striking here.
Because he's already asked
Netero appeals to the
the
humanity of the Chimera Ant King
royal god what his name
in order
is.
to initiate a fight in which Netero will try his utmost to save humanity. Unbelievably and yet predictably, Meruem agrees to fight. To try and analyze the intricacies of the fight between these two men would essentially be attempting to analyze that for which words cannot do justice for.
Oh no, so
This
good.
fight is absolutely spectacular.
It's brilliant.
A visual feast of aesthetics,
Look at it.
tactics, and
Look at all that.
respect.
Oh my god, it's beautiful.
This is by far the biggest challenge either of these men have faced.
Yes.
It's important to note that Meruem holds no ill feelings or malice towards Netero.
Nope.
He simply views it as a challenge and a means to learn his name, which is extremely important to him. Meruem embraces the challenge with an almost childlike joy. He views the patterns that Netero attacks in as an overly complex Gungi match, and uses what he learned from Komugi to find the absolute slightest tendencies that Netero shows.
Oh, his arm.
Eventually, Meruem is able to thread the needle, exploit these tendencies, and defeat Netero. And then we get to the instant where Netero surrenders and accepts that he must use his final resort. This is the moment, the iconic and conflicting moment where Netero completely flips the script with his miniature rose. The way that Togashi and the anime approached the scene was quite compelling.
Brilliant.
This is the moment where Netero is saving all of humanity. One would guess that the tone for this scene would be triumphant, or perhaps tragically bittersweet due to Netero's suicide.
Yeah.
But the tone that is established in this scene couldn't be farther from triumphant.
So dark.
While proclaiming that you should never underestimate humanity's potential for evolution, Netero strikes quite a dark figure. The music is sinister, the imagery is grim and eerie, and the scene just gives off a vibe that seems as if humanity is about to be doomed, not saved. Here the narrative hints at the fact that perhaps humanity being saved in this context is not a situation worth celebrating. One would think that in this scenario, feelings of triumph would dominate the moment that essentially seems like Meruem's death. If this had happened earlier in the arc, we would all be celebrating the prospect of Meruem's demise.
Yep, definitely.
However, Meruem has grown substantially since his birth. He has built a special relationship, learned about how power should be used.
It's not like we're watching someone
been able to
completely
find
kill an
beauty in
evil
and protect
overlord
others,
here. It's like...
And above all, he has shown his humanity.
Yeah, there we are.
At this point in the series, I was not ready to let go of Meruem as a character.
No.
His natural evolution into a complex and subtle figure, with redeeming traits, had established him as a fascinating character.
Definitely.
He slowly shifted from his initial role as an antagonist of this arc, and the narrative acknowledges this through the sinister and devastating nature of Netero's suicide bombing.
Boom. Meruem's rebirth and relapse.
As Poof and Yuppie approach the improvised volcano in the aftermath of the explosion, Hunter x Hunter achieves an absolutely remarkable atmosphere. This event was one that marked the saving of humanity, but the tone in the sequence where the two royal guards search for their king was so dark and tragic.
Yeah, it really was. They were like,
when they
no!
discover the ashy remains of their king, remains that, interestingly enough, resemble a Jizo statue, their reaction is such a raw expression of loss and emotion that I couldn't help but sympathize with them.
Yeah,
Not
it was
only
weird.
This, but I was mourning with them. I had retained some hope that Meruem would survive, as I was fascinated with his development. Hope that was restored as we see some movement in Meruem's lips. What ensues from here is a bizarre and wonderful showing of devotion from Poof and Yuppie.
Yep.
A holy communion of sorts that allows Meruem to be reborn. However, the king has lost the essence of his memories. He does not remember anything about himself, and we learn that he can only recover memories through visual or audio
Like
cues
what he's seeing
that
or being
remind him of
told,
past
yeah.
events. The most noteworthy thing about this is that through this plot device, Meruem has lost memories of Komugi, and thus he has lost the vast majority of his character growth at this point.
Yeah, which is
He
a
has
bit
relapsed.
worrying.
He has reverted to his original mentality. But as time goes by post-rebirth, Meruem has this odd feeling in the back of his mind.
Yeah, like something's
a
missing.
nagging yearn for the unknown that tells him that he has forgotten something or someone
That's
that is
really
incredibly
important.
important.
Yeah.
Though Poof and Yuppie try their hardest to prevent Meruem from remembering Komugi in order to keep his heart from swaying from his purpose, Meruem is relentless in his pursuit for this forgotten knowledge. He strikes enough fear in Welfin to goad him into uttering the word, whose meaning essentially dictates the purpose of Meruem's existence at this point. All of his fond memories of Komugi flood back as his memories return, and the king immediately realizes that Poof had been betraying him.
Yeah.
He refrains from punishing the royal guard, however. After Welfin, nearly accepting death, proclaims that Gyro is the only king he'll ever serve, Meruem concludes his human development by stating that he hopes that Welfin finds him, and he hopes that Welfin can live alongside him as a human. Poof can only look on in sorrow as Meruem's human side completely takes over. The fascinating thing about the loss of Meruem's memories was that in the end, his humanity prevailed above all. Up until the point of Netero's explosion, Meruem's human side had been steadily growing. The memory loss was enough to buffer this development, but in the end, the underlying momentum of Meruem's feelings for Komugi was more than enough to refuel Meruem's humanity.
Oh. I don't think I've ever felt so sorry for a bad guy dying. Like, it was sad. It was so sad. I was born for this moment.
After Meruem's shocking display of resolve to Palm, we reach the welcome reunion between the Ant King and his loved one. If you consider that this man used to pride himself for being all-powerful and virtually immortal, Meruem is surprisingly accepting of his mortality. Meruem knows that the poison is killing him, and doesn't intend to fight against his inevitable death. He just wants to make his final moments count. So he finds Komugi, to spend his final moments enjoying one last game of gungi with her. I think an important side note of this scene is that Meruem deeply and profoundly thinks of his royal guards at this point, and ponders that he could never, ever do enough to express his gratitude for their loyalty. I found this to be a small, tragic, but heartwarming moment. He never really paid heed to his royal guards and their devotion.
No.
But in realizing what is important in life, Meruem expresses his deep thanks to Pito, Yuppie, and Poof for devoting themselves to his existence. Here, he is not afraid, and he is at peace with his fate. Meruem casts aside his ant tendencies and accepts his humanity with open arms as he welcomes the true purpose of his existence: simply living and loving. He concludes his own personal journey here, pure bliss through spending a solemn and quiet moment with this special someone. Komugi is also more than happy to die with the man she has grown to care so much for. Meruem ends up never having beaten Komugi in his life, and this is entirely appropriate for a man who has recently come to believe that different individuals have infinite potential for excelling at different things. Meruem is serene as he slowly plays out his final game with Komugi, and even as his speech begins to fade and his strength weakens, he finds peace in her voice.
Yeah.
Meruem simply wishes to be in Komugi's presence, as his constant questions about if she is there punctuate the dark. But he need not have asked these questions, for as Komugi says, she will always be there. Meruem's development is concluded as the two pass away peacefully in each other's arms. Meruem is a character whose own personal journey contains themes that are both deeply personal and also blend in with the messages presented in this arc. Not only this, but he adds an element of existentialism which seamlessly fits in with Togashi's narrative, as he searches for a true purpose. As our perception of Meruem changes throughout the Chimera Ant arc, so too does our stance on the ideological battle between the humans and the ants. This story makes us question our initial feelings, and Meruem's journey, coupled with Gon's downward spiral, flips the script and subverts our expectations. Episode 135 of the anime, and basically the entirety of this character arc that Togashi crafted, are special stories that go above and beyond. They transcend the medium of manga and anime, which is extremely high praise for someone like me. Despite all of the brutality, the bloodshed, the cynical and true takes on
so much horrible stuff happened.
The sadness, Hunter x Hunter's Chimera Ant arc ends on a decidedly positive note.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, despite all of the evil in the world, life is about peace and laughter and joy and love. And finding happiness in this world is more than possible. Personally, by the end of this arc, I was overwhelmed and really did not know what to
I'm getting emotional.
The one overriding feeling I had was an admiration for Meruem and his character arc, and a deep, bittersweet sadness at the fact that his and Komugi's
that's so well drawn as well, look at
had
that.
to end so soon after it started. It just didn't seem like Meruem's time to go. He had learned so much about carving out a happy existence for oneself, and yet had so much more to learn. I guess, thinking on this now, that this is the exact reason that his life had to end in that underground garage. Meruem's final moments were personally some of the most heart-wrenching and emotional I've ever experienced, simply due to the seemingly abrupt way his and Komugi's relationship had to end. Yet in the end, somehow, I don't think that either of them were upset with how their stories ended.
Nah. That was the nice thing about it. They were both together.
はい。名前を呼んでくれないか。おやすみなさい。メルエム。
Brilliant. God damn it, man. Choice of music and stuff there, you bastard. Very good. Yeah, Meruem's character journey was just absolutely fantastic. Very emotional at the end, and yeah, a lot of yeah, some interesting choices of tones, like you're saying with Netero's like humanity and blah, and it's like really dark and like, whoa, okay, what? And also, something I noticed, I don't know if I've mentioned this already in a video, but like, Netero, I was hoping they were going to mention this, but it wasn't really necessary for the Meruem's journey. When he showed the scene of Meruem taking his arm, it just reminded me that when Netero is playing that ball game with Gon and Killua, and he says he's not going to use this arm, he's not going to use that leg. They're the arm and leg that Meruem take away from him, which is just a weird, like, I don't know, I was just kind of like, really foreshadowing all this stuff the whole time. Did he know? Because if so, that's some really freaking good foresighted writing. Excuse me, I love Hunter x Hunter, it's so good, and these manga chapters I'm reading at the moment are just absolutely fantastic. And once I'm caught up, I'll do the Who is Crollo Lucifer video. But next, I'm going to do the Netero character analysis video that Alexander's done. A couple of you were asking for that, so I will do that. Yes. So yeah, thank you guys very much for watching. And again, let me know if it's my choice of videos that is putting people off watching, because or if it's something I'm doing differently, or don't know, because the views are really down. Like, I don't know, man, I'm still going to keep going. I still do this. I love doing this. This is so much fun. But yeah, it's just, you know, it just plays on my mind a bit, like, what have I done? But yeah, thank you very much for watching. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe if you haven't already. Leave comments down below. Let me know what I should watch and discuss in future videos. And I'll see you guys, it's all of you guys, next time. Bye.